We're back with Bert Kobayashi, retired principal of the Kobayashi Group and Albert C. Kobayashi Inc. So, Bert, you mentioned before break something about, when you make it, you're going to give back.
Mm-hmm.
How did you know when you would make it? Was it when you had that self-fulfillment? Was it monetary? When did you know that it was time to give back to the community?
Actually, I really didn't know when to give back, but when, the first thing what we did was they asked me to be an officer of the Home Builders Association, and which I decided to do. But that was my first thing that I gave back to the industry. It was a learning experience for me because it's much different when you're working with a community and a community group than doing everything by yourself and making decisions by yourself. You have to go through a lot of committees, and then you got to go to the officers, and before you even have a consensus of what you're really going to do. But after that, I finished the board level at the BIA, and while doing it, I started to do other fundraising for churches and community nonprofit organizations.
Why did you do it, though? What was driving you to do this along with working, a massive amount of hours?
Well, I thought that, even though, we weren't financially set, but I had to learn what this organization does. And the first 5 to 10 years, I was not very effective because I had no help in the office because of myself. But after that, when I hired a secretary, and some assistants, it got much easier for me to spend more time with a lot of these organizations, nonprofit organizations.
So you think that by being involved with the nonprofits, you developed a lot more of your leadership skills and teamwork skills?
It was both. I think when I went to when I was at Georgetown University, every time I go there, they have seminars for how to be a leader, how to help not only the school but the community, and how we can get other people involved in doing nonprofit organization stuff.
And what age were you when you were a part of that first board?
I would say I was 23 years old when I was BIA.
Wow. And being so young, how did you see the difference in being a part of that board with your business? Did you see a growth?
I thought I need to know my competitors, number one, because I bidding against them all the time. So I need to know how they bid, but I wanted to meet them, and I wanted to know not only the competitors but also who in the field of contracting, like the subcontractors, the material house bonding people. I think to do business, what's really important for me is anytime I do business, they become my friends. So that is really important to me. I got to know who I'm doing business with,
That's an interesting concept, because that's almost like when you watch these samurai movies, and then they'll almost be friendly with each other before, and then it's like, okay, ready to fight, and then it's like, okay, we'll fight now. So, it's so different from what we're used to seeing, right? In terms of business. Now it's like, you're my competitor. We're going head on, my friend. So it's interesting.
Yeah. But I think, I don't know, but in a development game, there's only a handful of people that does development, and we know them all, and even though we're competitors, I think we're friends too, in the industry. Yeah.
It's almost like the restaurant guys. Yeah, Kerry?
Yeah.
All the restaurant guys that come in, like Alan Wong, Roy, all these guys, they're all good friends. Mm-hmm. Even though they run, somewhat competitive restaurants. They're at the same fundraisers. They do things together. One calls the other to join theirs. It's an interesting camaraderie in these two industries, it seems.
I think, yeah, and I think not only the two industries, but all the other industries, I think, most time they're very friendly with each other and they know each other. And that's good,
So what do you think for a young person today? What do you think they need to work on in order to, quote unquote, make it?
Well, there's no formula to making it. you can go all to school. You can, no matter how much school you have, how much experience you have, basically, you gotta believe in what you're doing as a product. And when you first start, it's the hardest thing because basically you have no references. It's very difficult to have your customers trust you because you just started and they're not sure of your quality of work or quality of product. But I think if you work hard, you got to put in the hours. You're very efficient on your overhead, and you got to be able to budget your time and your money. That's the most important.
So how do you budget your time?
For me now?
Yeah. Even when you were involved in the industry, because you're so involved with the community and you're so involved with the business, how did you balance everything?
Well, it took a toll on my family because, I spent 90% of my business day hours in my business and maybe 10, 15% or 20% more in nonprofit. So I had hardly any time for my kids or my wife and stuff like that, especially when they went every year, they go to Boston for 2 months. I used to just go for a week. Yeah, at the end, I pick up the kids and bring them home. But I couldn't take off that long. When you're in your business, you got to commit yourself to be like that is your number one effort besides your family, but number one. And it's hard to juggle the thing around. And your wife got to be really understanding, especially your wife,
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.